Welcome everybody to Catalano Baking. I'm Jason Catalano, and here our mission is to provide you with baked goods of high protein and bonus nutrition to support your aesthetic, athletic, and fitness goals. For today, we got a special book review, and it's one of my favorites from Robert Greene, The 48 Laws of Power. Okay, this is one of the most powerful books out there, not only in terms of business, but in terms of life, in terms of trying to accomplish things in life, how to persuade people, how to motivate people, how to get what you want out of life, right? And the main objective of this book from Robert Greene himself is it's a handbook on the art of indirection. In other words, it's not about taking a direct path to getting what you want. It's about saying that a lot of times with power, true power in life, it's about how do you maneuver it to where it's a win-win for everybody, or at the very least, you're not directly trying to get and obtain what you want. Okay? So the big three ideas we have is the first one has to do with law number 13, and that one, of course, is appeal to self-interest. So appealing to self-interest is extremely important, whether you're in business, whether you're talking to your spouse, whether you're dating, doesn't really matter. You always want to appeal to self-interest. The reason why this is so powerful, of course, is that all of us want to gain something for ourselves, self-preservation, and it's extremely powerful if you can present things in a way where you're going to get what you want out of it, but you understand the other side so well that when you present your offer, you present the transaction, it goes a little bit like this. So if you understand that your person across from you wants to acquire wealth, obviously if you're making an investment pitch, you're going to be saying, well, I need this money for my business, but you're going to be acquiring all this ROI on the back end, right? Or in 2 years, you're going to get a payback. That's extremely important because for that person, it seems like they're completely winning the deal, right? Because to them, they value that ROI so much more. And obviously I value money coming into the business. In terms of self-interest for this actual channel, the biggest way that I promote to you your self-interest is you want the body, right? You want the fitness goals, you want the athleticism, right? But you don't want to necessarily have to give up, too much in terms of your own self-gain. So the biggest thing with self-interest is you want to make sure that you're appealing to whatever it is that other side values at a higher level. Like I said, it could be something that you don't necessarily value that they do. You got to appeal to it, right? And so in Aesop fables, they have the peasant and the apple tree. And in this actual fable, what happens is a peasant basically doesn't see a whole lot of value in a tree that for a bird provides a lot of shade and a nest. And so the bird's trying to appeal to the reason and say, hey, please don't do this, trying to appeal to the mercy, don't cut down this tree. Like, I love the tree, and, I'll sing you a song. And the peasant doesn't want a song. The peasant just wants the tree gone, doesn't see any value in it. So as the peasant striking away at the tree, the peasant sees, wow, there's honey. Takes a sip of the honey and goes, wow, this honey's really good. I can use this for my cooking and my baking. And so what happens is, by that nature alone, the peasant says, I'm going to keep the tree, right? So the bird, in that case, failed at appealing to self-interest. Another great historical component of this is with Genghis Khan, where apparently he looked at the Chinese civilization and didn't really see a whole lot of value in it. And so he wanted to just completely destroy it. He just wanted to lay it to fire, get it out of my way, let's move on. And it actually took one of his best advisors to say, no. There is value here in that we can tax them. We can actually bring in revenue, which is going to help support our expeditions going forward. Now, that's incredibly valuable for him to understand that Genghis Khan didn't really, care about any other appeal, but the appeal to conquest and furthering his conquest, that saved the Chinese civilization. Big idea number 2 is law number 34, which basically says, be royal in your own fashion, act like a king, and be treated like one, okay? Now, the reason why I really like this law in terms of the book, in terms of summing it all up, is you get what you deserve. Charlie Munger used to say that. The world's not crazy enough to give you something that you don't deserve, right? Well, in a lot of ways, how we treat ourselves and how we portray ourselves to the world a lot of ways, that's what the world's going to present right back to us. And the great story in this book has to do with Christopher Columbus, and that he actually faked his own heritage of being, in the aristocracy for Italy, so that he can basically marry into royalty and promote and get connections, because people thought, once again, he had royal heritage. The truth was, he only had, low-level merchant class type of parents. He himself was a low-level merchant, didn't really know a whole lot about going out to sea and exploring. But when he made a pitch to the King of Portugal about heading west and doing a new route to Asia and all the glory and everything that the king was going to get out of this voyage, the king said, I don't really believe you yet. I haven't really seen, a whole lot of it in terms of proven. But he didn't dismiss him. He said, it's a legitimate idea. I just need a little more proof, right? And a big part of that was that Christopher Columbus upheld his standard as if he was from royalty. Like, he actually, was trained appropriately. He actually did know what he was doing. And if he didn't I don't want to say fake it till you make it, but if he didn't hold that to his own core, his own standard, and stand firmly on his own virtues, a lot of ways he would have been found out very quickly and nobody would have taken him seriously, right? So in terms of this channel, when we say act royally, we want to talk about, obviously, your presentation, right? This is a Banana Republic shirt. Okay, I take very seriously, the way I present myself to the world. I want to look as good as I can. It also means in terms of things like tonality, in terms of how you treat and respect other people, in terms of what you expect for yourself, right? Being royal means that the moment is never over your head. You're always in control, and that you will always go towards your virtues, never to your sins. And people respect that. People want to admire that. They want to be around people that hold themselves up to high standards. So if you want to be powerful and you want people to truly feel your influence, if you truly want people to feel your influence, you have to first treat yourself like you are royalty, okay? And the big symbol for this is the crown. And the reason why I love the crown is, as the crown sits on your head, it is a very visual symbol, okay? It's a very, very visual symbol. The weight of it, it's down there. People can see the shininess of it, and it's a clear symbol. I am somebody to be taken seriously. I am somebody that is competent. I am somebody that knows what I'm doing. I can lead the charge, okay? I can lead and follow me, okay? Big idea number 3 is law number 45, and that is preach the need for change, but never reform too much at once. Now, the reason why this is a huge power principle is that anytime in business we're asking people to transact with us, to do business with us, right, to buy our product, buy our service, the number one thing is there's probably some sort of change that they need to do in order to fully utilize that product or service, right? They are buying you because they want to break from the status quo, yet they want to cling to the status quo as much as possible. So a big thing with this power principle is that, yes, you're pitching to them, you're going to make a huge transformation, and they probably in the back of their mind know it's going to take a lot of effort and energy, but you can never lead with that. You have to say it's going to be small incremental steps, but you're going to get a huge reward out of it, right? Most advanced, yet acceptable, okay? You want to make it seem like it's very advanced, but it's still within some sort of comfort zone, right? You want to keep people comfortable around you. A big thing with this was always, I always think about this principle in terms of when I'm asking people to bake on this channel, I want to make things in a way that appears comfortable, classic, right? And a big thing with that, of course, is going to be we use things called chocolate chip cookies, oatmeal cookies, right? We use the classics, but we're definitely putting a different spin on it. We're definitely increasing the protein. We're putting superfoods in it, and we're pretty much revamping the recipe entirely. But by saying it's just a basic chocolate chip cookie, it's a lot easier for people to accept that, right? They've eaten chocolate chip cookies before. They know what chocolate chip cookies taste like. It's very, very easy for them to say, oh, it's going to taste like this, but it's a little bit different. Okay, and that little difference is going to get me huge results, right? That's kind of the pitch you have to make. And that makes you extremely powerful in the world, because if people truly believe that they only have to change a little bit around you, like what you're saying, they change a little bit and they get huge results, they're going to follow you no matter what. You're going to be extremely persuasive, right? So I do think that's a huge thing to think in mind, is that don't necessarily ask for too much. Say you're going to get big rewards, but don't necessarily ask for the huge change all at once. And a big part of this actually has to do with the symbol of the cat. The cat likes things in order and familiar. Things got to be very familiar to the cat, otherwise they get spooked. Otherwise they freak out, right? They're very orderly creatures. And so a lot of times what happens is if you have to make changes to the cat, you kind of have to keep everything the same, but then you have to kind of change one thing here, one thing there. And with this one thing, in the book, he talks about the legend of Mithras back in the Roman era, where actually what they would do is they actually replaced Mithra, which was a very, very famous god, and Mithra's birthday was on December 25th. And they actually, once they made the switch over to Christianity, the Romans decided to make the 25th Jesus Christ's birthday. Now, the reason why they did this was already accepted. Everyone already came around and celebrated on that day. It was very easy to just say, instead of Mithra, it's Jesus. Hey, it's same day. We're celebration. Okay, cool, right? If you would just do some random day, it's a lot harder for people to have to now change their entire routines. So it's very, very powerful to make sure that people, if they have to change, make it very little, okay? So that was the 48 Laws of Power at a very, very high level, and my 3 favorite laws from it. Obviously, this is a book I highly recommend that you continually read. Just read a little excerpt here and there, and just try and continually think, how can I apply this in social situations to retain and maintain your own power? And with that, you want to be a power baker? Read 48 Laws of Power. This is Jason Catalano, signing off.